This is not the Quick Speed Shop. We're back in the shop working on a black 80 Dodge. I'm lowering the rear suspension. It was too tall. We're going to do some custom lift, anti-lift block action, I guess would be the term for that. We're going to drop the back down, get it sitting more level so it doesn't look like a sled pulling truck. And then we're going to go into the cab and I'm going to show you what the Herculiner looks like. We're going to Herculine this thing. I got one coat cooking with a fan. It's awful odoriferous. That's the word of the day, odoriferous. And I should vacate the premises till this dries a little bit, but that's the first coat. It looks mint. So if you want to see how the suspension works and how we're going to use Herculiner, I'll show you right now. Hey guys, it's Josh here from the Quick Speed Shop. We're back on the black 80 Dodge, and today we're going to do a little suspension work because the back of the truck it's too dang high. It's like the rent. What was that rent guy? The rent's too dang high. Well, the truck is too dang high. When I built this rear suspension, I put her up on custom lift blocks right back here, bam, right there. 2.5-inch custom lift blocks. Well, the problem is I put 1-ton springs in the back of it, which have a lot more arch than the stock half-ton springs that were in it. And they don't compress at all, even though I took some leaves out, it's still got like 7 leaves in it. So it didn't compress at all, and it maxed the suspension out, travel out on the shocks. They're stretched right out. And the back of the truck's too dang high. You see the clearance on the front of the wheel well here. We are going to jack the front of it up a little bit later with a couple more leaves in the front packs and a little 1/2-inch lift block in the front. But the back is like, I got it off the ground a little bit, but as you can see on the wall, compared to the wall, the truck has got a horrendous rake, like 4 inches. It's too much. It looks like a sled pulling truck for pulling a weight sled at a tractor pull. So it's too much. So what we're going to do in this video is take those custom-made blocks out. We're make some new blocks out of this. I think it's like 7/16 or almost 1/2-inch thick plate. We're going to saw out some plates, and I'm going to drill them for holes. The reason I need custom blocks in the back, I can't just set it down without anything, is if you go back and watch the rear suspension video, I used 1-ton springs out of a 89 or 90 Dodge, which they should all been the same. I don't know if the guy put the wrong springs in that truck or was different, or I don't know. But anyways, the center pin in the springs is back too far on this specific set of leaf springs, even though they were in a Dodge, so I don't understand why. But I had to make my lift block with a pin in the center of the axle, then a second hole for the leaf spring to sit on. So that's why I need some kind of adaptator. But I guesstimated at it, and if you can see the wheel well here, it's hard to tell, but I've got I think these trucks, the tire favored the front of the wheel well anyways in the factory, but it's almost 2 inches from there to like where that should be. So we're gonna back the rear end up about 1 inch while we do this. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, normally if this is a lift block, you just have a hole in the center and a pin, and the leaf spring would go in the hole and the pin on the bottom would go in the axle, and it would take up the difference. So actually right here, let's explain it this way. These are the original blocks that came with those springs, and you can see here these are 3-inch blocks, and your leaf spring sits on here. This goes in this hole, and then the bottom hole goes into the axle. But because I had the springs of the longer pins, I had the center in the axle, and I've actually drilled a hole back here for the leaf spring to sit back here, so the rear end, you know, I can still clamp it down. So instead of being like back however far I have it back there now, we are going to make a new one out of here. I'm going to weld a pin in the center to go in the rear end. Then I'm going to move the hole back. Say I went back 2 inches there, I'm only going to go back 1 inch here. So we're going to actually move the rear end backwards about 1 inch, which there's plenty of travel in the drive shaft and stuff. We're going to go move the wheel back to more centered up in the wheel well, just because I had the box off when I did this and I couldn't really tell. So that'll straighten that out. But we're gonna drop the back of the truck down. So first thing we're gonna do is, I've got it jacked up, and unbolt the shock absorbers and let them hang. And then we're going to put some jack stands, I think, under the frame, or actually probably under the receiver hitch, so I can let the suspension down, and then we'll unbolt the axle, drop the axle down, take the lift blocks out, make new lift blocks, and we'll jack the thing back up and bolt it back together. I ordered some new U-bolts over here that are shorter. I got them from jacket, but they are rough country U-bolts, but they bought it through Jacket Suspension, I think. So they are a little bit shorter Dodge U-bolt. They should be about the right height for what we got to do, because I've got really long ones in there right now, so they're going to be too long and not have enough thread engagement. Bolted the shocks from the rear end here, and I got the back of the truck sitting on the receiver hitch on these really tall jack stands, so the weight is off the suspension and it's just on the jack a little bit. I got a jack stand up under the pinion so the rear end doesn't tip over frontwards when we unbolt it. Now I think I just got to get the socket and the impact. We'll just take the nuts off the U-bolts and then let the rear end down, weasel them blocks out of there, and then we'll take a look at those. Okay, I think I can just loosen these guys up here, if I can get on there. Oh yeah. Oh, what happened? Wrong gear. Here we go. This shouldn't want to kill me. Get on there. Oh yeah, no problem. Okay. Yeah. Nope, the tire's sitting on the ground. Shoot, I need to back the back of the truck up even more. Great. All right, cut the nuts off. Cut the nuts off. Ouch, that sounds terrible. Cut the studs off, I mean. It also sounds bad. You know what I mean? The U-bolts are too long. I had to cut them off, and the threads are a little bung food where I cut them, so it is what it is. But hopefully I took this up in the air enough to be able to get this apart. I might have to jack it up just a hair. Oh shoot, I'm not under the balderdash. Let's see, I might have to, I'm not up high enough to get everything apart. Get off of there. All right. Is that gonna kill me? Oh, the tire's still off the ground. Well, that guy came off. How about this guy? Oh, he come off. Why won't you come out of there? Suspension's a little scary because of the way that it is. But I think it's okay. It came out. It spun it around. It'll go down. Oh, I know why. I still got the rear end on the jack. Okay, let me let's go to the other side. I'm gonna take it loose on the other side over there. The rear end's still sitting on the jack, so I'll just let it down to the jack. We'll be good. Got him. Everything is greased right up. Nice. Got him. All right, I think if I just let the rear end down with the jack a little bit, it'll come right apart. Let's see. Where's the jack? Right back here, okay. Let her down. There we go. That should have been enough to get the blocks out of there. Where'd my bar go? I just want to try to grab it with the bar, not my fingers. Okay, how can I? This thing is being a pain. How do I? Shoot, we're on the ground now. Wait a minute. Mother puss bucket. If I had one more click on my back jack stands, I could do this. Oh, there we go. Maybe I can just encourage it to get out of there. Come on, man. Get out of there. Oh, I made the bottom bolt really long, that's why. And everything is covered in grease. There we go. Okay, the rear end is moving. Can I grab this and whip it out of there? Get out of there. You know, you want to come out. There we go. Woo, look at that, custom. Man, these things are awesome. All right. How about the other side? I have to coax it on out. Come on out of there. Oops. There we go. Get out of there. Get. Come on, man. You want to come on out of there. Everything's greasy. Come on. Aha! There we go. Got him. Okay, over here on the bench, you can see my custom-made lift blocks. You see how the hole is all the way to the back? So the center bolt went down through the axle, which is a 1/2-inch bolt where I ground the head down round. And then the back of the leaf spring was back that far. So I got to see how far off I had that. I guess we can wipe the grease off these. Let me get a rag. We can measure these. Like I said, we're going to move the rear end back. So the offset of the pins is not going to be as exaggerated as it is right now, which will help the spring sit on the axle a little bit better. And the lift blocks, or the new blocks, aren't going to be as long as these because they don't need to be as long. And this is the only piece of material that I have, so it's going to be what it is. But we're going to have to weld a new 1/2-inch bolt through it and then drill a hole, 1/2-inch hole for the leaf spring. So right now it looks like my these are 6, so that's centered at 3, and then I came in at 1. So looks like I had the axle back 2 inches. Yeah, there's the stud. So I had it 2 inches. So we're gonna move it back 1 inch. So we're gonna have it be off by 1 inches. And this plate I've measured out to 2.5 inches, just like the width of the block and the width of the spring. So we're gonna make a new block that's gonna be centered for the pin, and then we're gonna go back 1 inch for the leaf spring hole here. So I'll drill a hole in the center, then a hole back here, and that will make it just be off the center like that. We'll just, that'll relocate the axle, like I said, back 1 inch, and the wheel well might get the wheel more centered. Just for grins and giggles, before we make anything, let's jack the rear end up to the pin location in the springs, which I know was different, but I want to see what it's going to look like. It's probably going to be back too far, but let's just jack the rear end up over here just before we do anything, up to where it's got to be. Oop, shoot, I need to get under the front of the pinion some more. Let's see here if I can do that. Let's just jack it up kind of like where it's got to be for the leaf spring pin location. Light is right in my freaking eyeballs. And see what it looks like without doing anything. Am I where I gotta be? Am I? It's gotta be right about there. Yeah, okay. So right about there, it's gotta be where it is. And as you can see, I think, you can see it's back too far compared to there. So it is going to be back too far. So if we make it like 1 inch ahead, which will be about right about maybe there. How does that look? Yeah, that looks better. Yeah, because that would be right about where it would have to be. Right there, and that looks like it's back too far in the wheel well. It is. It's back a little too far. So we do need to make those staggered mounts to make it right. Oh, I'm checking over here. It's definitely back too far without it. So, all right, we will make the special 1-inch offset adapters, and then it'll be fine, and it'll look a lot better. And as you can see, this is up against the thing, so the springs are drooped about probably 1.5 inches right now. So when we put the weight on it, it's going to be about here, which is going to be 2 inches lower than it was stock, and it's going to make a big dramatic difference in the height of the back of the truck. It's really going to level it out some. And I'm making my pins here. They're drilled for 5/8 bolts, and I took some 5/8 bolts and I cut them off and welded them in from the back side, plug weld them all the way around really good and put a big chamfer in the hole so you have plenty of engagement. And I just tacked them on this side, and now I'm going to take the grinder and cut the heads off, and that will give me the pins. I did essentially the same thing with 5/8 bolts, and I made these. You can see them through there, and I just welded the head up there, or I welded it there, and then welded it on the inside here, and then just cut the head off so it left the round pin there. So essentially did the same thing. I'm just going to cut the heads off here with a grinder, and then I'm just going to dress this where I tacked it, just to grind it up just a tiny little bit. But it should be plenty good. We'll grind this flush on the top side, and then we've got our offset 1-inch offset holes for the leaf springs, and then we'll just cut it with the Sawzall, and our plate should be ready to go back in the truck. All right, I threw a little vice grip rebuild black on here while they were warm, and it's kind of dry, so we're going to throw them in right now because I can't wait. But you can see I cut the bolt heads off with the grinder, and they should make a good pin. And then we got the 1-inch offset there. They're not quite as long as the original ones, but they're good enough for who it's for. They'll engage, and let's stick them in the truck and see how it works out. Let's see how this is going to work. We're going to go ahead and set this guy up here, boom, on the axle. And then, oh, the whole rear end is hanging. This is going to be kind of hard to get to go in here. I might need to get the ratchet strap to suck the springs back in because they spread out. Dang it. But we'll make it happen. So that guy's on there. Let me set the one on the other side. Over there. Here I come. Let's see what we, uh-oh. Hoop. Let's jack it up. I can't see. Okay, that guy's doing something. Maybe I can land one side at a time. Of course, I can't see nothing because both lights are right in my eyeballs. Oh, this guy's going to line right up good on this side. Maybe I can, oops, I thought it was going to go in. It's close. There we go. Boom. Okay, that guy's in there. Now what I'm going to do, let me get the U-bolts. Sounds like a U-bolt problem. Let me get the U-bolts and attach them to this side. First, let me check the wheel over here. It's still a little bit ahead in the wheel well. Actually, I'm missing the back. Yeah, it's centered up close enough where we're going to go. Let me get the U-bolts. Where are they at? Over here. Oh, boy. Now, let's see if I can get these guys. Boom. There we go. Oh, wait. Shoot. I need my top plate locker my jigs. I can't see it. Ow. Okay, that one's good. Okay, that's good. That stayed where it stayed. This one. Uh-oh, the plate spun a little bit. What happened? There we go. Hold on. Get on there. Okay. Ow, why is this fighting me? If I only had some kind of hammering device. So use a wrench. Sure. Oop, oop. Okay, that guy's on there. Oh, these U-bolts are even perfect. Perfect. Let's go ahead and get the, it's all greasy. Let's go ahead and, it's all greasy. Let's go ahead and get this guy on. Here and here. What's going on here? Oh boy, I can't see nothing. These lights are killing me. Why won't this, oops. Why won't this go on here? Close to making it happen. It's because that needs to lean that way. Come on, man. Get on there. Hoop. Can't see nothing. And this is stuck on here. Come on now. Okay. Okay. Come on. Unfreaking believable. Get off here. Unbelievable. Okay, I got a Harbor Freight ratchet strap stretched to the max, and I think it's going to allow me to get this where it's got to be. I just can't see where the stupid hole is in the plate. Rear end's got to go ahead. Ow! That can't be right. That can't be right. It looks all crooked. Did I put the stupid... Whoops. Wrong way. Can't see. You know what? This is a nightmare. Can't see anything. Okay. So, can't see. Man, that is close to where it's got to be. Oh, shoot. I had this problem on the other side. Well, maybe I don't have it in the right spot. There we go. Can I get this? The stupid... what do you call it? They're like half collapsed. The spring pads are rusty and half collapsed. Let's not burn our ratchet strap while we're at it. These guys are bowed out a little bit from years of rust and stuff. I had to do the same thing on the other side to get it to get the U-bolt, because the U-bolt had to spread a little bit. Come on, can you just go on here, for crying out loud? Mother... I like fighting everything that could kill you. I love it. Now we're in business. There we go. Now we're cooking a kerosene. Like it. I like it. Yes, sir. Okay, are you guys ready for the big reveal? Let me pick her up and set her down. I'm ready to see it. Got the shot. Oops, what was that? I put the shocks back in the factory location as well. So they're good. Let's set it down. Ooh, that's a lot better. There we go. Oops, I'm in your way. Look at the bed compared to the wall now. Barely any rake. That went down 2 inches. I feel a lot better about that. It's got the half-ton stance now. Got a little bit of suspension working. Like I said, I moved the shocks back to, whoops, the light's in your eyeballs. I moved the shocks back to the factory location there. Man, that looks pretty good. And the wheel is just about centered in the wheel well now. Before it furthered ahead, it's hard to tell because it's rotted out back here. But that looks a lot better. The back end, like I said, it looked like a tractor pulling truck before. It was just too tall. And I didn't want to put lift springs in the front. Yeah, this guy's all good here. Nice, and that looks 1,000 times better. It was just too tall. You know, I could have lifted the front with some lift springs, I guess, bought lift springs for the front, probably 4-inch springs, but then the tires would be too small, it would just look dumb. So this is a lot better. It sits good. These are 1-ton springs. When I put my 450 pounds of salt or sand in the back for winter sandbags, it'll squat barely any, but it'll handle the load for plowing. But that looks 1,000 times better. And like I said, the front, we're going to pick the front up with a couple of help reliefs I'm going to stick in here that I'm going to make out of the rear spring pack, the original rear spring pack from the truck. So we're going to pick up the front just a hair. If I get down here, we can sight down. So you see the back of the spare tire, or the rear tire, is below the pinstripe, that gray and black pinstripe above the body line. The tire is below the pinstripe, probably 2 inches in the back. Well, here you see the pinstripe here. It's like level with the top of the tire almost. So the back of the truck is still 2 inch taller. So when I pick the front of this up with 1 or 2 leaves, the truck will sit about level, but then with the weight of the plow, the front end will go back down some. Right now it's about that far from the bump stops in the front because they had a plow on it forever, and then the front springs are concave. So when I pick it up with the front springs, it'll sit level now, but it looks a lot better. Like I said, it was so high in the back before, it was ridiculous. So we dropped it. These are 2 1/4, or 2 1/2, I'm sorry. So we put a 1/2-inch block back in, so we dropped it 2 inches. It looks a lot better to me. That was worth it. Worth the struggle, worth the cost to buy new U-bolts for like another 50 bucks, but it looks a lot better. Now the shocks aren't all bottomed out. I like it. It looks like it should. And we got a good, these are 31-inch tires on here, so it's got a good tire to wheel well clearance, even though the wheel is rotted out. It should be another inch below that, but it's, now it makes sense. The truck originally, when it had the original rear springs, if you go back to the beginning of the series, if you're curious, the rear springs were almost flat. These 1-ton springs have a lot of arch in them. And the rear of the truck had almost flat springs with 3-inch lift blocks. So when I put the 1-ton springs in, I made shorter blocks, the 2 1/2-inch blocks. I figured it would, you know, be up a little bit, not too bad. Well, you know, like you saw, it was too much. So it just, the arch, the 1-ton springs is a lot more aggressive than the stock 1/2-ton springs. And it's not going to squat hardly at all. Like I said, I got like 7, I think, leaves in there. So it's going to be pretty stout in the back to begin with. But man, that was fun. I think we're going to finish out the video, tomorrow it's going to be 70 degrees. I'm going to get the floor of this truck scuffed with some 80 grit, just rough it up, and we're going to open the door and get out the Herculiner, and we're going to Herculine the floor of this truck to finish out the video here. And then next time we'll tackle probably the front here. I'm going to, since I got the jack out, I'm going to jack it back up, pull the wheels off. I got some new drums put on the back, which are over there. I'll slap them on. You don't really need to see that because it's just off and on. And then we will pull the seats out and we'll scuff the floor and give her the Herculiner job. Guys, it's the next day, and as you can see, t-shirt, doors open. It's like 70 degrees out. Like I said, this is going to be perfect. And I've gone this morning, and I've got the floor all sanded with 80 grit for the Herculiner. Now, it doesn't matter if there's bare metal showing. The Herculiner seals everything up, grabs onto it. It's not perfect. I got a little bit of shininess here and there, but for the inside of this truck, it's fine. It's going to grab on good. If it was in the back of your truck, you'd want to spend a lot of time in the bed sanding every square inch, get rid of all the shiny stuff so the Herculiner could stick to it everywhere and not get scratched and worn off. But in here, it's going to adhere to everything. It's going to be fine. So I knocked it all down to 80 grit, the tunnel and everything else. We're going to paint all around here. I'm actually going to do the top of the rocker panels too, just because. So we're going to Herculine the whole thing. It's ready to go. So here's our Herculiner. I bought this to do the C10 floor, but oh, it's a gallon. Uh-oh. Shoot. Well, they got you a chip brush. Well, I thought I just had a quart. Turns out I got a whole gallon. And all right. I've also got the roller kit here where you can put it onto the nappy roller. This is for you know, the big surfaces. We're just going to put on with a brush in my kit, but do not shake can. Uh-oh. Don't shake it. I always make that mistake of Herculiner. I shook it, and I shouldn't have shook it. So let's go ahead and open this guy up. It's black material with rubber in it, and it's very odoriferous. If that's a word, odoriferous. Word of the day. And so when I start applying it, I'm going to put the respirator on, but we got to do a ton of mixing for it beforehand. Get off of here. These like little metal clips to hold the lid on are good. Now I'm a little nervous. That guy just got ruined. About doing the whole gallon here, because if you don't use it up with a set time frame, it can go bad. But I'm hoping to... Where did that go? Dang, I'm hoping to seal it up with a plastic bag under the lid so it doesn't go bad. If it does go bad, I guess it's not the end of the world. Usually I buy the quart cans. I might have got this from somebody or something. I don't remember why. I don't usually buy it in a whole gallon, but it's, see the rubber in there? You gotta spend a lot of time mixing this up. All the rubber hangs out the bottom. Usually I use the quart cans, like I said, and I just work right out of the quart cans, because it's easy to dip out of, and a whole quart can usually does the floor of a pickup truck pretty easy. And I don't know why I have a gallon, but we're gonna have to dump this into something, because you need to get the rubber mixed in with the goo, and if I just keep dipping out of this, it's gonna be kind of thin, because a lot of the rubber is gonna be at the bottom of the gallon can, and that's not gonna be good. So I'm gonna have to come up with something to put it in, but you can see the material there. And we're just gonna, I got myself a 3-inch chip brush right here. We're just gonna dab it on. I got a patented dabbing technique. If you're doing a full-size truck, like I said, you'd use the nappy roller, and the roller would put it on nice. Ooh, I'm starting to smell it already. I wish we had smell-o-vision. But when I do small things like a truck floor cab or something, or underneath the bottom of something inside, I use this in all kinds of things. I use it inside my old cars on the underside of the fenders. It makes an excellent sound deadening, and it prevents rock chips from starring the metal on metal fenders, like Model A, 32 Ford, up the, like, all the fat fender cars. You can paint the inside of your fenders with this, and it's very durable. I did my Studebaker truck fenders. I'll probably eventually do my dad's 37 Buick. I see the he's just got, like, well, maybe he did rubberized undercoating, but I think the rear fenders are just painted steel, so I might put Herculiner inside them when I do the rear end change, just to do that. I do this on the edge of fenders, so instead of using like fender welting, I use Herculiner, and then you've got rubber to rubber between the fenders instead of using welting, which can hold moisture and dirt and rust. This stuff just makes like a rubber seal, sort of, and it works good. I use it for all kinds of things, but the number one thing is painting the floors of Oh, you know what I wanted to use some for? Maybe I'll use it later today if it doesn't rain. My van floor, I wanted to put some Herculiner in my van floor. Maybe that'd be a good idea. You think about that for a minute. Or, well, I'd have a day or two to do it. It's supposed to be warm for the next couple of days. So maybe I'll do that, because I've been meaning to do my boogie van, the front floor section, and I just haven't got around to it. That might have been why I bought this gallon to do the inside of the van. And it's just been a couple of years since I've had it. I don't know. I don't remember. But that would be something good I could do with it to make sure it doesn't go bad, because this stuff's over $100 a gallon. That's why I usually buy the quarts, so you don't waste it. But we're getting her mixed up pretty good. Oop. What can I pour it in that I can work out of that I can throw away later? I had the perfect thing. This is a plastic cap from the end of a pipe for pipeline jobs, and it'll make a perfect paint tray for our Herculiner here. We'll just dump some in. Boom. How much we need? Whoa. How about, we're going to do a little bit more. Let's call that good. Ah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Where's my brush? Try to, yikes. And you definitely want to wear gloves, because this stuff is unforgiving and will not come off anything. It sticks to everything and anything, and it will get you. So you definitely need to wear gloves unless you want to have black hands for forever. All right, so let's go up to the truck. Here we go. We're going to start right now. Now I need to put a respirator on when I do this because it stinks to high heaven, but for the purpose of talking real fast, I'm going to do it. What I do is I dip the brush in here, and I simply go like this, and I blot it on. I blot it. And you're going to want to put 2 coats on, and we're just going to blot it here. If you try to brush it, the crumb rubber gets all weird. So I just blot it, and this is under the seat, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I want a good coverage. I don't want any thin spots. But if you do this blot technique, it puts a nice coating on. I did this exact thing in my brown Dodge. I'm sure I probably did a video on it. I can't remember. I probably did. Oh, this piece of crap already get lost. And you just blot her on. Just blot it. I've already got it on the seatbelt plastic. Great. But you just blot her. So I'm going to work for the center out. I'm going to do the transmission tunnel, but you can see here, it takes, I forget the amount of time it takes to dry, not real long. So I'll put on a coat here. I'll go have lunch. I'll let it tack up, and then I'll come back and I'll put a second coat on. But we're just going to cover everything on the inside of the truck and make a nice rubberized coating that will be very durable. You might be able to see here, that's a piece of crap they got in there. It's all right. It's going to be in there for now. You might, I got a splash in my arm. You'll probably be able to see through this. Maybe you'll see the primer a little bit on the first coat. That's why you got to do 2. It doesn't cover all the way in the first time, so you got to do 2 applications. But I'm just being really fast and loose with this for this truck. I don't really care. Like obviously you don't want to take this out if it's something nice because it's going to splash on it. I don't care. It's all old and busted. You'd probably want to tape up the pedals because it's going to splash. The stuff, when you do this, it splashes. I don't really care because plow truck. But, when we do the C10 floor like this, we're going to do this in the C10. I'm going to mask it all off and plastic things off to make sure I don't get any on my new paint and the pedals, and I'm going to do a nice job. But for what we're doing here in this truck, this is literally just to coat it up, get some protection on this thing so I can go out and sit in the driveway and plow snow in the wintertime. And It'll make an impervious layer, an impervious thing to moisture, and I'll be able to wipe it out really good. When the windshield leaks and stuff, it'll just pool on the Herculiner and won't get to the metal. And then I've drilled a drain hole in each floor pan by the pinch weld on the rocker panel. The water will be able to drain out through there. And you also want to work this to like this, keep it mixed up, because the rubber wants to drop out of the suspension. You want to do that. Like I said, if I tried dipping out of the gallon can, I would lose my ability to have it be good. I don't want to pond it here at the bottom of the tunnel, so I'm going to brush it out a little bit, make sure I'm not ponding, because it'll take extra time to dry. But like I said, you don't really want to brush it either. But these sections, I'm going pretty fast here talking to you guys, but it looks good so far. If I see any runny spots, I'll just give it a little brush. But you get the idea. It's going on pretty fast and furious right there. It looks pretty good. I'm just going to put it probably on fast motion and put on my respirator and go to town dabbing on some Herculiner. All right, well, it's been like an hour or so. It's in here drying. I got out my fan. I'm cross-ventilating it. Lost the nice weather. Now it's raining, but still warm out. So I'm cross-ventilating here to, it's got to dry for probably an hour to 2 hours. When it stops being tacky, it's still kind of tacky. I'm going to let it go for probably another, I don't know, 45 minutes or so with the fan going. And then I'm just going to reapply. But it looks really good. You can get the idea. It's a little thin here, like you can see the primer through there, but the second coat will slap right on, and then I'll let it dry overnight. I'll probably let it run for a few hours with the fan this afternoon, and then just let it cook overnight. We got all the extra windows open, the sliders and the vents, so let our air out. But this will be super durable. It's going to be awesome, like I said. And tomorrow I'll slap the seats back in it. The whole inside will be done, rust-wise. Probably not going to fix any more on the truck. I was talking about getting box sides a couple videos ago. Well, they're only $250 on Jegs, but then it's like, so it's like $500. But it's like over $300 for truck freight to ship them here, and that ain't gonna work. So I'll probably just leave it. I'll probably just leave all the original sheet metal in the truck, and I'll tie the box sides back in, make some mounts, keep them from flapping, but probably just leave it all up. I'll probably maybe try to get a buff it out. I am going to rattle can some new stripes on the bottom of it, kind of make it clean it up. And I'm going to touch up the door logos with, or have my buddy do it, or maybe I'll get a small brush and try to do it myself with some one-shot enamel. Touch all the logos up and just clean it up, buff it up, and it's not going to really rust anymore away. And I am going to spray the whole underside of the truck with fluid film. Fluid film black on the frame so that doesn't look all rusty, and then hit the whole underside of the truck. So it'll last several more years at the rate it's going. So I'm not really worried about it. But the floor was awesome. That's going to look good. So I guess that's it probably for now for this video. We did the rear suspension looking mint. Got her back down where it wasn't ridiculous. The tire is centered pretty much good in the wheel well now. New U-bolts again, so everything's good there. And then we did the Herculiner on the floor. I'm getting excited about this Dodge. The next video, we're going to bust into the front suspension. I'm going to go out back and take actually the rear junk leaf springs that were in this, have some overload springs on them. I'm going to pull them off or pick them up. I think they're already busted apart. And we're going to slap the rear overloads in the front as another set of overloads in the front, which will pick it up a 1/2 inch. Then I'll probably cut those 2 other pieces of steel I made out 1/2 inch, so I'll pick the front of the truck up about 1 inch. I think I got to take the front sway bar off to get the plow mount on it, which it doesn't need a sway bar anymore. So I'll take that off, jack up the front suspension. I'll grind the rust off the springs, grease them up, bolt them back together with some new center bolts, and we'll jack up the front suspension just a tiny little bit, but make it stiffer. And then basically it's going to be tuning the engine up, maybe putting a new carburetor on it, and then I'm going to bolt on the plow mount, get the plow mount wired up. I would like to build some kind of like sport rack or something to put the gumball light on there. Probably like a bed bar mount. Like, I'm thinking I'm going to go all square in this truck since it's a square headlight, rectangular headlight, stacked headlight truck. Probably do square light here, maybe back window protector. Probably I have some square or rectangular driving lights that are clear, like old Hellas or something. Put them up on there. So I'll have my brown Dodge out there. Will be the round 80 with all the round lights, and then this will be the black 80 with all the rectangular lights. I think that'd be kind of cool to differentiate the two, since the plow already has rectangular lights on it and stuff. Even though I did score some round plow lights here, I'll probably leave it all square. And oh, I guess maybe I could put these on a bed bar. That'd be kind of cool. They look more old school up on the roof. I don't know. Let's stick with the rectangular theme. We'll have one round truck and one rectangular truck, just because. So I want to do something with that. I got to build a rear bumper, which I have that one. Might work, or I might do a different one. Might try to make some kind of front bumper. And then we got to do some brakes and tune up and fuel tank. Another couple of videos. Get this guy out of here before this will finish out the winter. Probably working on this guy next couple of weeks anyways. Get this thing out of here. And then I'm not sure what's coming next. I might bring my Model A coupe in and put the fenders on it, because that'd be pretty easy. Something fun. I could bring my 37 Ford up in here and convert that the rest of the way to 12 volts. I don't know. We'll see where we go. The C10 waiting on parts and pieces and money for that. So probably in another month or so get back to that. But in the meantime, this thing looks good, and we'll have another episode on it coming up next time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then. Black 80 Dodge action. I love it. We're fixing rusty junk just because we can at the Quick Speed Shop.